We don't need no more black versus white. We don't need no more men versus women. We don't need no more hatred, period. But somebody gotta state the obvious. A black man's neck is missing in Mississippi. That automatically make you put two and two together. When they received his body for the autopsy, the neck was gone. Now a lot of people are believing that it's a possibility that Nolan Wells was lynched in Mississippi. But without his neck, they can't prove nothing. But for the fact that his neck is missing proves a lot. There was some trauma that happened to his neck. There's a lot of trees on Horn Island. And there's a whole lot of mystery going on with this man's case. And I would hate to think it. They did an interview with one of Nolan's friends, and he sounded like he was sad about it. I'm sad about it. We all sad about it. I don't know what to believe. But I'm just letting y'all know what they talking about out there in the streets. They believe that Nolan, rest in peace, was possibly, don't nobody know for sure, but people are talking. Y'all need to listen at this. Hold on.
Planes and helicopters, and it wasn't like there was just a couple boats looking for Nolan. There was planes and helicopters and everybody. So,
and then after this, obviously they didn't find Nolan that day.
Right.
And so what was your reaction like when you heard the news, or how did you hear the news that they found Nolan's body?
Well, the next day, it got to be about 1 o'clock on July 5th, and I was like, my mind started to turn. I was like, man, if he's not awake yet, like, where is he? Like, I got very, very worried. And
man, these the same people that left him on the island because they was trying to save their boat. They was more concerned about that boat than they was concerned about that man's life. And this officer Tatum, he made it to the Sellout Hall of Fame just by sitting there and doing this interview with this boy. The dead with a missing neck. He wanted to sit and talk to this boy that got a whole lot of neck. They might as well put him in the next Gladiator movie with all that damn neck. Cast him as Achilles or somebody with all that neck. But Nolan ain't got no neck. But he put his neck out there to interview this young man. Who really the enemy? It's a possibility that not only was he lynched, they could have did some other stuff. There's footage talking about they was burning the body. Oh no. Y'all need to listen at this. What's going on?
Vanished in the water. This morning, nearly 3 weeks since Nolan Wells vanished in the waters off the Mississippi Gulf Coast, the district attorney is speaking out to defend the investigation into the 18-year-old's death.
Nolan's family deserves answers, and our community deserves answers.
While his family and his community are clamoring for answers, District Attorney Angel Myers-McElrath says Wells's case is being handled the same way as every death investigation.
I understand the public's urgency to know what happened to Nolan, but we are not taking time for time's sake. We are taking the time required to complete the work this investigation demands.
She met last week with Wells's parents, who pledged to allow investigators to examine his phone, which he left behind in a boat during a July 4th trip with friends to Horn Island. Few details have been released, but the district attorney says that's by design.
The pressure for answers does not change what the work requires. Our responsibility to Nolan and our community is to complete this investigation thoroughly, carefully, without compromise, supported by the evidence and worthy of the confidence of the people we serve.
The Wells family is skeptical Mississippi authorities are up to the job.
My concern, and also my husband's concern, was it was not even an hour that his body had been removed, and the sheriff came out and said, this is, accidental drowning. We don't think there's foul play.
Sources tell ABC News Wells's body was found face down on the water, consistent with drowning. An autopsy the family commission said the cause and manner of the 18-year-old's death was undetermined. The results of the state's official autopsy are still pending. The district attorney is pleading for patience, hoping to convince the public that protecting the integrity of the investigation.
They just want it in y'all face. They want to make sure y'all know what time it is and what's been going on. They definitely been controlling the narrative. And it's clear. We see what's going on. We see what's happening. Ain't shit changed. Still a US of A, man. I figure that we moved on. Don't have a black president. Trump in office. What people mad about for real? We get it. We see what's happening out here. And y'all gotta be careful. Ain't shit sweet. Don't be going out to no islands with nobody. I done seen enough movies to keep me off of an island. I ain't even trying to go to Jamaica, to be real with y'all. They could miss me with all that. I ain't trying to stop at no trailer park. If my car break down at a trailer park, I'ma push that back to the ghetto. I ain't playing around out here. And this in the news to let y'all know. Don't you bring your blacks around here. They Applebee's, they Applebee's. Yo Applebee's, yo Applebee's. They Walmart, they Walmart. They Walmart, our Walmart. The hell with that. I'm just saying, a lot of people feeling like Nolan's parents is making the situation 10 times worse. Listen at this. Hold on, get it together.
Parents is part of the problem. So when no color, they just told me right there that y'all wasn't doing y'all job as a parent. Since nobody gonna say it, I'ma say it. Hell, Nolan Wells' parents is part of the problem. So when Nolan's daddy said that Nolan didn't see color, they just told me right there that y'all wasn't doing y'all job as parents, because you telling me that Nolan didn't see color in the state of Mississippi. And mind you, this the same state that didn't abolish.
And all we see is black, brown, and blue, baby. She talking about Nolan ain't see no color. We see a little bit of everything. And maybe that's the problem. What your parents got to say about that? Talking about Nolan parents is a part of the problem. Who in the hell raised her? I can't even pay attention to nothing she talking about for real. And that's the problem. Everybody got something to say. When people need to let the investigators do the investigating, even though they ain't investigating, because they letting y'all know Nolan ain't getting no special privileges. We gonna handle his situation just like anybody else's situation. And since he black, we gonna handle it like how we'll handle a black person's situation. And Ben Crunk ain't nothing but show. That's like they got Reverend Al Sharpton on the case. If you know anything about black pastors, they gonna bring in the music. They gonna bring in them damn church dinners. They gonna bring in all the theatrics to get somebody paid. So that's what got me thinking that his parents really don't give a damn about the justice, or they figure we ain't gonna get no justice anyway, so we might as well get some money and kick up some dust around here, because that's all they're doing with this case. But the sad reality is that there's a possibility that things got so grim on Horn Island, and you figure, hell, you out there dealing with the devil and everything on Horn Island. That's a major red flag. It got real horny out there, man. And I ain't talking about in a sexual way. I'm talking about in a demonic way. For him to be floating in the water when they found him like that, you can't put nothing past nobody. But honestly, I don't want to believe that his friends had anything to do with it, man. I don't want to believe it. Because they all young people. I could see if they was 40, 50 years old and they was in a biker gang or something like that. But these some young college kids, did they do it to join the secret society? Did they prove themselves or something? Was their parents waiting for them to get back? Mission complete? Did they knight them right there on Horn Island? Was it a rites of passage or something they had to do? Because it's getting real spooky, real creepy, and don't nobody got no details except for the fact that this brother's neck is still missing, y'all.
Nearly 3 weeks since Nolan Wells vanished in the waters off the Mississippi Gulf Coast, the district attorney is speaking out to defend the investigation into the 18-year-old's death.
Nolan's family deserves answers, and our community deserves answers.
While his family and his community are clamoring for answers, District Attorney Angel Myers-McElrath says Wells's case is being handled the same way as every death investigation.
I understand the public's urgency to know what happened to Nolan, but we are not taking time for time's sake. We are taking the time required to complete the work this investigation demands.
She met last week with Wells's parents, who pledged to allow investigators to examine his phone, which he left behind in a boat during a July 4th trip with friends to Horn Island. Few details have been released, but the district attorney says that's by design.
The pressure for answers does not change what the work requires. Our responsibility to Nolan and our community is to complete this investigation thoroughly, carefully, without compromise. Supported.
Wait. Y'all know why? And I hate to sound like this, but I'm going to let y'all know how I feel about it. Y'all know why Nolan will never get any justice? That's because there's way too many people involved. A 4th of July weekend on Horn Island. Did y'all see all them boats out there, man? Everybody and their mama was out there. And he probably was the only brother in sight. They knew what was going on. There's plenty of witnesses. And the crazy part about it is they probably all participated in it. You figure you on a remote island somewhere. You can go there and do what you want to do. Horn Island, that sounds like a freaky time to somebody. And Nolan got caught up in the rapture. Don't make me pull up them pictures from back in the day when they sitting around eating, laughing, barbecuing and watching and pointing. And it wasn't just grown people, their kids was out there too, having a good ass time. And it's a possibility it happened in 2026 in Mississippi, nevertheless. They probably been waiting all year. They probably showed up for the Nolan event. And I ain't trying to be funny, but with this type of stuff in the news, you just never know the extent of what happened. Because let's be real, this lawyer or whoever she is, the DA, she looks spooked. Like they done already straightened her out. Like you say what you supposed to say. Don't make this get ugly. Don't you turn sides. She look like she's scared to say another word on this situation. So, they're going to milk this thing and give the public what they're going to give the public. But this is like a double-edged sword. Not only can people get away with this type of stuff, but this invokes fear into people, in which it should, because it's not, hey, you go, however you trying to play it. All I'm trying to say is you need to play it a little safer. But the sad part about all this is when it comes to people of color, you ain't safe nowhere, in no community, not even your own. You have no safe haven for African Americans. You can get screwed either way. You're back against the wall. Y'all see how the black community responding to this Nolan Wells situation. They treating it like it's a new sandwich at the fast food chain. Everybody up on it. Gotta try it. It's all fun and games when it's in the news. It's entertainment. Even though this man lost his life and his neck is missing in Mississippi. Listen at this, man. Hold on. Let me get this together. Hold on. Run that back.
A difficult journey.
Y'all need to listen to this.
Losing a child.
Here we go.
This has been a difficult journey. Losing a child, it truly breaks your heart. It is a pain that is just, you can't measure it. Especially someone like Nolan, who brought so much joy and light and life to everyone. You don't find too many genuine people like him. So to lose that light at such a young age, under these circumstances, has been absolutely difficult, which is why we've gone this route. There's so many people out in the public asking all of these questions. But
She sound like she been preparing. Did she practice this speech or something?
Oh my goodness.
And I commend her. People mourn differently. Don't think I'm trying to make no pun at his mother. I'm pretty sure she's hurt deeply or whatever. And she just so happened to be a professional or whatever the case is. But the way his parents are going about this is if it's a part of a program or something like that. They took no time to mourn. It's still July. It ain't even been a month. And they on board. They don't did interviews. When do they take the time to get somewhere and have some solace and cry? Are they mourning for real? Was they expecting this? They just hopped on the damn media run with all this. Matter of fact, let me hear what that sister was talking about, because besides her tig old bitty, she probably had a point. Let me listen. Let me hear her out real quick, y'all.
Since nobody gonna say it, I'ma say it. Hell, Nolan Wells' parents is part of the problem. So when Nolan's daddy said that Nolan didn't see color, that just told me right there that y'all wasn't doing y'all job as parents, because you telling me that Nolan didn't see color in the state of Mississippi. And mind you, this the same state that didn't abolish slavery until 2013. And this the same state that Emmett Till was murdered in. Now, for anybody who haven't been following the case, let me give y'all some context. So 18-year-old Nolan Wells went to Horns Island, Mississippi with 3 white friends that he supposedly have known since high school to celebrate 4th of July. Now, their boat left Ocean Springs around 9:56 a.m. and arrived at the island around 11:14 a.m. But when it was time to go later on that afternoon, he was nowhere to be found and he was not on a boat. And his friends' stories were inconsistent and they didn't add up. And things really went left on July 6th when Nolan's body was found on the northwestern part of the island. Now let's fast forward to July 22nd when Nolan's second autopsy results were revealed. And keep in mind, the state had already done its own autopsy before the family brought in its own independent person to examine his body. And baby, here is where things get weird, because the pathologist found red discoloration in the soft tissue behind both the Nolan's ears and in the back of his head. But what really gets me is that Nolan's body was sent without his internal organs. Baby, they sent him without his stomach, his lungs, and on top of that, the structures from inside Nolan's throat and neck had already been removed during the first autopsy, which meant that the independent pathologist could not fully examine his body for possible injuries. And mind you, they originally tried to claim that he drowned. So why would y'all hold his lungs? Because that would show sign of drowning, right? And why would y'all hold his throat and neck structures? Because that would show sign of strangulation, right? But at this point, the shit is not adding up and somebody killed this baby. And that's why it's important to teach your kids it's never safe to be surrounded by people who don't look like you. Like, we have seen cases like this too many times where one black person in a group of white friends some way, somehow ends up dead. Like, it's a pattern. And as parents, you have to warn your child of these type of dangers, because oh, hell no, baby. My kids ain't going nowhere alone with a group of white people. It's just not happening. Sorry. So that's why I say Nolan's parents are part of the problem, because you have some black people that associate everything being good with everything being white. And they have this idea that removing themselves from their own people some way, somehow means that they moved up in their social hierarchy. So them...
Oh, no, we can't be doing that, y'all. I don't like that. No, we can't live like that. Not in America, man. We too close together to be thinking like that and being like that. It shouldn't have to be like that, man. I don't want to say this an isolated incident, but they in Mississippi. You know, it ain't like they was in Pennsylvania or somewhere, or Rhode Island somewhere, or Virginia. They was in Mississippi. Oh man, I don't want to accept this. This is the narrative, that blacks and whites can't come together. Ain't no more ebony and ivory. Damn. That can't be the case. As much as black people be kissing ass, how we gonna work? How we gonna get paid with that type of mentality? You mean to tell me you ain't going to work? You ain't trying to sit in that office with that AC? You rather be out there in the warehouse with them niggas sweating, picking up them boxes and you gonna trade in your position so you could be out there with the field hands or whatever the case is? That's when keeping it real go wrong. I mean, how you gonna survive with that type of mentality? Now, I get it. You know, you figure if you had the right friends and you trying to come up in life, you know, it wouldn't be bad. I ain't against having white friends and white people. That's absurd, man. Because a lot of times everybody know it be your own people. So don't let this situation deter you from having relationships with people of any nationality. But something is strange when he come back without a neck. That got me feeling like he was strangled. And if that's the case, when he was on the boat with his friends and they smiling and they
Having
taking
a child.
pictures and things, that mean that they had intentions on killing him, allegedly, on the way there. They played it cool with Nolan just to get him there, wrap his ass up and come back. If they left at 9, got there at 11, and when they left, they came back with no Nolan, that mean that they executed their plan. As soon as they got off the boat, that's when things started getting real sketchy around there. They smiles turned upside down, and they handled that business and got back on the boat and said fuck 'em and came back with no Nolan. That's fucked up, man. If that ain't crooked, I don't know what is. There's no way they should have came back without the man. Ain't no explanation for that. You can't say, well, maybe he did want to stay behind with some girl. Maybe he wanted to, he didn't want to come back. Maybe he saw some chick he wanted to spend a little more time with her and they left. And come to find out he was dead and he ain't had nobody to back him. Hey, they could argue it however they want to argue it. But with them playing games with the autopsy, it's already a cold world. I ain't trying to add no more cold to it. And there's brothers out there that's saying Nancy Grace is getting sexy out here. They treating her like she the news version of Adina Howard, so I don't know how we gonna discontinue the unity between blacks and whites when black men and women can't really stand each other for real. How we gonna stay grouped in within our own group when our group can't even stand each other? And on top of that, Nancy Grace is coming for your man. I mean, just look at the Bob.
Of a young man, Nolan Wells. In the last hours, we learn the contents of a second independent autopsy on Nolan's body.
Oh, no.
Good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. I want to thank you for being with us.
Crime story, y'all.
That was an independent autopsy ordered by Nolan Wells's family. We still don't have the official autopsy from the Mississippi
She got on a freakum dress, y'all. Y'all see that?
Medical Examiner's Office, but straight out to a renowned medical examiner. You know him well. Joining us, Dr. Kendall Crowns. He is the Chief Medical Examiner of Tarrant County, Fort Worth. Literally thousands and thousands and thousands of autopsies under his belt. He is the esteemed lecturer at the Burnett School of Medicine at TCU. I don't have to explain to you what it takes to become not just a medical examiner, but the chief medical examiner in a metropolitan area like Fort Worth. All that aside, COD, MOD, undetermined. But what jumped out at me, among so many things, Dr. Kendall Crowns, what does he mean about the red discoloration in the deep, soft tissues overlaying the occipital bones? What is that? Translate.
So what that is the occipital bone is the bone in this is your skull. It's the bone in the back of your head, the directly back side of your head. So when he's describing these hemorrhages in the deep, soft tissues, it means deep in the musculature that holds your head in place, there is a red discoloration. What could this be? It could be settling of the blood from decomposition or from lividity, cooling of the blood. The body has been kind of put on its back and transported to Washington, D.C. So that could be that. It could also be
Trust
blunt
me,
force injuries.
I don't think I know more than you on this, Dr. Kendall Crowns, but you got me drinking out of the fire hydrant. You're giving me so much information. I had to break in right there because you said I'm going to quote, posterior red discoloration in deep, soft tissue overlying occipital. Deep, soft tissue. To a layperson like me, that means it's a deep.
Oh, he looking like you better shut that shit up. He giving her that look. Now, don't you overstep your boundaries. Y'all see that? Like, bitch, I know what I said, but you barking up the wrong tree. And she trying to take it all the way there for her black man. He looking at her like she don't know what time it is. He speaking with that forked tongue, real fast, real sly, real slick. He trying to spit it out there to where you can't even collect it. She told him to slow it down, man. Don't speak that forked tongue with me. I know what you doing. She got her hand like a snake to let him know that she'll hiss back at his ass. He can't be trusted in this situation. The same way they took out his neck and all his organs and stuff, so they ain't got nothing to work with. They ain't got no evidence for real. They would have took out the back of his head if they could have, but they figure, hell, we send him back like this, he gonna be a pop balloon. Lord have mercy, man. I gotta see what's going on in the chat. See if anybody has something intelligent to say. Let me get this together real quick. Come on. All right. I'm about to show some love to my people that's watching, and I'm about to see how many people hit the like button too. I need to know how y'all feel about this situation. Do y'all feel like it's a possibility that Nolan Wells was lynched? Hey, let me get this. Okay, who we got up in here, man? I need to know. I'm looking for paragraphs, man. My sister said, it's sad to see the youth turn over, like especially seniors. They are ready to step fully into the world with a leap from their accomplishments, but tragedy strikes. Man, Nolan was on to bigger and better things, and his friends was too, so I don't understand why they hate it. It seemed like they sacrificed him for their own notoriety and gain. That's why I'm thinking, was this some secret society stuff going on? They're saying that his parents, Eastern Stars and stuff, and shout out to the sororities and fraternities out there. I ain't got no gripe with y'all, but you know, it'd be stuff happening behind the scenes. Somebody said his black friends would know his personality if he had any black friends. It looked like he had black friends, but they wasn't invited on this trip. They probably, enticed Nolan to go with them. He probably would have had a couple of black friends with him, but they wasn't invited. And he figured, hey, y'all my boys. That's probably the first time they really wanted to hang out with Nolan like that. Just the four of them, and he'd be the only black guy. Because best believe if he had another brother with him or two, it would have not have went down like that. They making it seem like Nolan ain't have no black friends, but he was the only black dude that was invited. And for it to turn out like that, it seemed like they had an agenda, Let me see what else they talking about, man. Said, did he really have close black friends? And he has anyone talk to his black friends? People not really concerned about his black friends like that. And that's a good question, because they need to interview them boys and see what was really going on, see where Nolan's mindset was, because they're making it seem like he was a sellout Carlton Banks type of brother that ain't want nothing to do with black people, but he got a black daddy. So I doubt if that's the case, unless his father a sellout. But what do it take to be a sellout? You know what I'm saying? Just because you got your stuff together and you like to, live a better life, that don't make you a sellout. Somebody said, I don't believe any of his so-called fake friends locked them all up. They are all acting in concert, all complicit. See, I don't want to believe that, though. I don't want to believe that people are out here that evil. Because if you believe everybody evil like that, then that means you can't trust nobody. And imagine living a life like that to where you can't trust anybody. You constantly got to look over your shoulders. You don't know who's who, what's what. That'll make you not even want to interact or be around nobody for real. You might do yourself a disservice living like that. So until they get some more proof, until they get some more evidence, this isn't for sure. It's not for certain. I'm not sitting up here saying that his friends did indeed take his life, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did. Listen at this young man.
You know, I was with my buddy Brooks the next day, and we're driving, and my buddies were texting my group chat. They were like, hey, listen. And then I got a phone call from my buddy Trace, and he was like, hey, man, they just found his body. And I was like, I wanted to have hope, but it was really, really hard to have hope when they haven't found your buddy in the last 2 days. And, but there's still a little bit of hope there, you know, like maybe, you know, he's not gone, and maybe.
Man, shut your ass up, bro. Y'all had his phone on the boat. Left him on the island. And y'all had his phone. And y'all wondering where he at or how he doing. Well, hell, it ain't like he could call and tell y'all. Y'all had his fucking phone. They ain't give too much of a damn. Talking about he got a call talking about they found his body. Was he paranoid? They knew what the hell happened. Man, I don't trust it. But you know what? This playing out in the public like this, just like this played out, y'all need to see this. The same way this played out in the public, the same way everybody had an opinion about this situation. Oh, he was being bullied. That's what that other boy get. Yeah. People were celebrating the fact that Carmelo Anthony took that other man's young life. People were celebrating the fact that Carmelo Anthony killed that boy in cold blood. It wasn't on Horn Island. It wasn't in a remote place. It wasn't nowhere where somebody didn't see what happened. There was eyewitnesses that seen him stab that boy to death. And you still have people online talking about free Carmelo. So this Nolan Wells situation gonna be very public. Nobody know what really happened. I'm pretty sure they would like to keep it like that. With the neck missing and all, ain't nobody never gonna know. And Ben Crump too busy putting on the show. Ben Crump too busy doing his T.D. Jakes impersonation with Reverend Al Sharpton. They too busy getting celebrities involved to make them relevant with the black people, even though they don't give a damn about no struggling black person. I tried to tell y'all then. People got mad at me. People unsubscribed when I said what I said about the Carmelo Anthony situation. I said it's going to be another situation to where the shoe going to be on the other foot. And this situation going to be the reason why whoever it may be is not going to get no justice. I'm going to pull up the clip and I'm going to put it back out there. And lo and behold, got Nolan in the news. Rest in peace, man. And he ain't the only. It's going to be other. Y'all can't say nothing. Lord have mercy. Y'all do me a favor, man. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. All the people out there, all the subscribers, all the people listening that hit the like button, left a comment. So much love for all y'all. Let me know what y'all think about this. And everything you heard in this video is alleged allegations, speculations for entertainment purposes. Rest in peace to Nolan Wells. And stay prayed up for his family and friends out there. Y'all be good. I'ma holler at y'all soon.